Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. So today we're gonna have a super interesting video where I got a question from one of you guys as to how can we use buttons to automatically select um, the top five or bottom five, or yeah, whatever the number, to automatically select those values. And I thought we would go through that in this video. So if you're interested, stick around. This is what we're going to see. I have a list here of all countries and I have sales. And what I want to do is automatically select the top, let's say the countries with the top five sales or countries with the bottom five sales. How do we do that? Just by using a button. Um, and I went one step further, and what I did was, now if you want to see, you can continuously change it. You see this? Now automatically it shows top four, top five, and if I want to see those, so now it's top five. If I want to see the top five, I just click on the button and it automatically selects the top five. And otherwise, I can even change it just by dragging this. Now it's top nine, or I can see the bottom. Now I just want to see the bottom four. I click on 4 here and it changes to 4, and then I click the button and it automatically selects the last 4. So if you want to learn how to do this, stick around. Let's do this from scratch. So first things first, let's take a chart. I'm going to take a table and let's drag and drop it here. Let's add our fields. So I'm going to use country. Depends on what you want to use. I'm going to use country. Maybe you want to see the top salespeople or top employees or something like that. I'm just going to use country. So, and then I'm going to, the measure that I'm using is sales. And now, just to make it easier for us, just to see what's really happening, let's rank it as well. So let's say rank everything based on sales, and let's just aggregate it over the countries. Right, and apply. And now we should get our ranking. Let's click on this just to sort it based on our ranking. Great, now you see that the country with the top sales is ranked 1, and so on and so forth, with Norway being the least and Germany being first. So what do we really want to do here? So we want to have a button, when we click it, we want it to select the top 5 or the top 6 or top 7. And we want to have another button where we want it to select the bottom 5 or bottom 6 or whatever. So step 1, we have created this table. Step 2, what we're going to do is, let's create 2 buttons, shall we? Let's go to custom objects and let's go to, no, let's go to charts. We have buttons here. Let's put one button for to select the top, and one more button to select the bottom. So what we're going to do here is, when we click on this button, we want it to select countries. And how do we want to select the countries? Based on the rankings, right? So how do you actually select multiple things in the search bar? I'm going to teach you that first. Let's just write, if you want to select um, multiple values, you can actually just separate them and write them together. Let's say Argentina, USA, United Kingdom. I'm just gonna copy this. Let's go here, and if I actually paste it here, So it automatically selects all of them. So that's the kind of format that I'm looking for when I put my condition. So let's go to the button here and let's actually configure this. So now let's go to edit, click on the button. This is for to get our top values. I'm just going to name it as top, and I'm going to say action. Here we're going to select values matching search criteria. So basically it's going to look at the criteria that I've given and it's going to search here for those criterias. Which field? In my case, I've taken country, so we're going to use country field. I'm going to go down here and select country. And then what is the values that I want? So which are the countries that I want to select? So here I'm going to write my expression. So let's go into expression. And so what do we want? We want to rank all our countries based on the sales, and then we want to select the top 5. So let's do that first. Let's rank. How are we ranking it? We're ranking it based on sum of sales amount. And great. So now what's going to happen is it's going to rank all the countries based on the sales amount, just like what we have done there. But we want it across all the countries, so we're going to use an aggregate. So we are ranking it based on the aggregation is over countries. Great. So now what's going to happen is you're going to get a ranking for each of the country. And then you're going to say, hey, but if the ranking for the country that it's going to select each of the fields, right? So it's going to go into each field and each country there, and it's going to see the ranking, and it's going to say if the ranking for the sum of sales is less than or equal to 5, then bring in the country name. And otherwise, what are you going to do? Just don't bring in anything, right? So we're saying that if the ranking is less than 5, bring the country name. Otherwise, don't bring anything. And you saw the format. We wanted Germany, a separator, and USA, separator. So it's going to actually go in, it's going to look, okay, Germany, what's the ranking? Is it less than 5? Okay, it is less than 5. Then it's going to bring in the country name. Then it's going to look at the next one. But for me to look at the next one, I want to actually add the separator here. So I'm going to use a concat. So let's say concatenate. Once you bring in the country name or an empty field, if the ranking is greater than 5, then don't bring in anything. Concatenate a separator. So I'm going to say concatenate a separator here. And so basically now it's going to go through all the countries, see the ranking. If the ranking is less than 5, like we have told it, it's going to bring in the country name. Otherwise, it's going to be blank, and it's going to concatenate a separator, exactly how we want, so that we can select all 5 countries which are in the top 5 ranking. And just because it's not good to like just leave it, we need to put a bracket. So let's, since this is a string, we're going to put a bracket and say open a bracket, and then bring in these countries, which is separated by a separator, and then close the bracket. And I need to put the brackets inside commas because it's a string. And let's press OK. Let's go to appearance. Let's just name this chart. Let's say top 5 and click done. Let's see if it works. And when you click on top 5, if you see here, it's bringing you the 5, right? So this button works. Woo! Great, so our top 5 button works. I hope this was helpful. Now we want to look at the bottom, right? So if you look here, we have 22. So we could say, hey, we want to look at the bottom 5, so that's 22 minus 5. So anything greater than, let's say, 17, okay? So let's go in Let's go to button. Let's go to add action. Let's go to action again. Select values matching search criteria. The field is nothing but country. And the value, we're going to say, hey, um, first rank them. Rank them based on sales amount. Once that is done, then aggregate them across all countries. And if the rank is greater than or equal to maximum is 22, and we want to see the bottom five, so all that is ranks that is 5 less than 22. So let's say 22 minus, well, we want 5. um, in that case we want it to bring the country name, otherwise don't bring anything. And we want to concatenate a separator. So we go concat, and we're going to put this in brackets. So open a bracket, and here we're going to say, and put two brackets inside commas so that it's a string, right? So we're going to say, hey, take the maximum 22 and then minus 5 from it, because we want to see the bottom 5. We know that the maximum is 22. And for those, you bring the country names and apply them in the same format. And let's just go to appearance. And here we're going to say bottom 5. You see here that Norway, Switzerland, United Kingdom, Poland, Portugal, these are the last 5 rankings. And when I click on this, I get Norway, Switzerland, Poland, Portugal, Finland, right? Perfect. That's exactly what I wanted. But this is not so elegant because I need to hard code this 22. What if there's in the next time you load the data, you have several more countries? In that case, you don't really know what's the highest rank, right? So instead of doing this 22, let's bring in a number there. So let's go to edit. Let's go to variables. And here, let's create a new variable. And what is a new variable? Let's call it v max rank. And here what we're going to do is we're going to just bring in what is the maximum rank that we have. Let's say the same thing again. Hey, just rank all the sum of sales and aggregate it across all the countries. And once you do that, just bring in the maximum value of it. Right? So now what we're telling this variable is, hey, do the same thing, like go into sales, rank all the countries, aggregate it across all the countries, and bring in the maximum value, and then store it in this variable called vmax rank. So now what happens is um, we have a variable here, and we're automatically aggregating it. So every time it automatically aggregates and gets the maximum rank. We just need to put a equal to sign here as well. And let's create this. So now we have a Vmax rank. Let's go back to bottom 5. And here, instead of hard coding this 22, we are just going to bring in the value because we already have a variable which has the max rank. And the max rank should be 22 in this case. So we're going to say dollar, bring in the value v max rank. And if you see here, it's already solving. The variable has a value that is stored as 22 because that's the maximum rank. And now we're going to say the bottom 5. max rank -5, bring in all the countries that has ranking greater than, in this case, 22 minus 5. So apply, done editing, and click on it, and let's see if it works. Great, so it works, right? So this is essentially how you could do with buttons. But you know what? We could make this a little bit better, I think. Don't you? If you said yes, you're just my kind of people. Now, so if you see here, it's top 5. This is bottom 5. What if your manager comes and says, "Oh, but I want to see top 6. Oh, but I want to see the top 7. I want to see the bottom 10." Are you going to go in and change all the time? Like, do you need to go inside and change it all the time? No, it's just annoying. And you can't really show your manager the middle finger, can you? So let's think of it like, ah, yeah, of course he's going to ask for this. Let's build it inside already, right? So what are we going to do? Let's change this 5 and bottom 5 automatically. How can we do that? Let's maybe maybe you can automatically just drag and drop or put in a number here which takes in the top 5, takes in the bottom 5, or whichever you want. How do we do that? Now let's go to edit. Let's go to custom objects, and let's go to our variable input. Drag it, drop it. Um, let's put copy, and let's just paste it here. All right, so this one is going to be top input, bottom input. Now what we're going to do is we're going to assign a variable to this one and a variable to this, so that as you input the value, the variable gets that value, and you're going to call that variable here, so that then everything changes automatically. So bear with me here. So what we're going to do is let's go into our variables. Let's create a variable called vTopList. And what is the definition? Nothing, because you want the input variable here, that as our input. So you're not going to give it anything here like how you did for the ranking. We're just going to like create it. All right. And let's go back. Let's close this. And here we're going to go in. We're going to appearance. We're going into variable. And here we're going to select the value. Which variable do you want this input to affect? We want it to affect this v top list that we just created. And how do you want to show it? Well, I want to, yeah, you could do a drop down or whatever, it doesn't matter. I think a slider is nice. Let's update the slider on drag values. Let's say we want to see at least the top 1, and maximum, let's say we want to see the top 10, step 1, and slider label. So now the label, now click on OK, and as you change this, you see 6, 7, 8. So now the variable there that you just created, vTopList, gets this 5. And do you remember here we actually said 5? So instead of telling 5, we could replace that 5 with the variable, so that whatever you drag and drop here gets updated here, right? So let's do that. Let's go to edit. Let's go to top 5, what we created earlier. And let's go to our actions. Let's go to the expression that we created. And here we said, hey, bring in all the countries that have ranking greater than 5. But instead of 5, let's just say, hey, bring in all the countries which has ranking greater than whatever value is input in the top input slider. So, and that slider is linked to the variable called vTopList. So let's just call vTopList here. So now I've called the variable vTopList, and click on apply. Done. All right, so now as you update the 6 to 7, as you slide the slider, your variable gets updated. When your variable gets updated, here, instead of hard coding, it says, hey, bring in all the countries which has greater than 7 in this case. Now, since the slider is on 7. So let's see if it works. I'm going to click on this, and you see 7 countries are here, right? Let's make one small improvement. That is, we could go into this. Here you see top 5, but here you have selected 7, so it's showing you 7 countries. So we could change that. That is, we could go into our appearance, we could go into general, we could go into label, and here we could say top 5. Instead of top 5, we can just say top, and the value will be v top list. So whatever you have slided there is what is the number of countries that you're getting. So you can see it in the label as well. So top plus the variable, click on apply. And now you see that as you're sliding this, the header changes. And when you click on the button, it brings in those countries and paste it here. Pretty darn cool, right? I think so, at least. Now let's do that for the bottom input, shall we? So let's go to edit again. Let's create a variable so that as you slide this one, that variable gets updated. So let's go to variable, create variable. Let's call this v bottom list. We're going to leave it empty because we want to input the variable based on the slider, based on the input variable here. V bottom list, done, close. Click on this one, and here we are going to assign the variable that we just created. We're going to assign it by selecting the name of the variable, and we're going to show it as a slider. Update the slider on drag. Minimum value, we want to show the bottom, let's say bottom 10 maybe, as you slide this. And then slider, and then we say done. But as you change this, nothing really happens here because you haven't really assigned it. So now let's go to the button where it's the bottom 5. You want to assign this input variable into this button. So let's click on the button. Let's go to actions and navigations. Let's go to our expression here. And here, instead of whatever max value which is automatically calculated in that particular variable, and you're saying bring in the bottom 5, right? But instead of this, you can say bottom 10, bottom 6, or whatever. As you slide it, you want the value to be automatic here. So instead of this 5, you're just gonna put in your v bottom list. So the slider number is going to be substituted here. So you're gonna say that, hey, as long as the ranking, whatever the max ranking is, minus the slider amount, 5, 10, doesn't matter, whichever bottom list you want to see, bring that and substitute it here. So you're going to do max minus the input from the bottom variable. Click on apply, and we know that it's going to be hard to see, so let's go directly to appearance, general, and here we're going to take this 5 away, and we're going to say bottom how many. Well, bottom based on our variable bottom list. So this one is a string, so it's inside brackets, and then you give an and call the variable and click on apply, and now it says bottom 8, done. So let's see if that works. Let's close this. Let's change this to bottom 2. We know that Norway and Switzerland should show up because we're looking at the bottom 2 and they are ranked 22 and 21. And when we click on this, you see Norway and Switzerland shows up. Oh, that's pretty cool, I think. As you move this, your bottom list changes, and then when you click on the button, those are selected. There's one final thing that we could do that's going to improve the whole thing. That's to add some colors here. So let's go to editing. Let's go to the countries, and let's go to background color expression. And let's give it an expression here. So let's say that first rank it based on sum of sales aggregated by country, and let's say that if the ranking is lesser than or equal to our V top list, then we want it green, else we want it in red because they will be bottom. But as you select it, you want it to ignore any of the countries that you select. So let's put in a little set expression here that's going to ignore our selections. And let's see if this works. So we have all of it here. And now the top 5, top 7. As I move this, you see that these are shown in green. And now if I press top 8, it's showing me in green already. I think this is super cool. And when I click on bottom, it shows me in red with the rankings here. So I really, really hope you enjoyed this. It was super fun doing it, and I hope it helps you. I hope you have learned a lot. And you could do this step by step, or over here, I'm going to create this file with step by step instructions so that you can go in and check what I've done and maybe recreate it for your own. And I leave a link for the file below so you can buy it if you want. Um, and I'm going to leave a super detailed instruction. So I really, really hope that this was fun. It was fun doing it, and I hope you learned a lot. I would really appreciate it if you left a like, helps out a lot. So please leave a like and see you in the next one. See you down in the comment section. Cheers. Have a good one. Peace.